Hello children, how are you all? Yes, yesterday we started the lesson 1, the green plants. And in this lesson we discussed about, what did we discuss? Yes, we discussed about the parts of a leaf and also the process of photosynthesis. Let's have a small recap of it. So in the parts of a leaf, what are the parts of a leaf, children? Yes, this is the leaf. The stalk is called petiole. And what is the flat portion of the leaf called? It is called as lamina. Yes, the stalk will extend into the leaf called as, yes, it is midrib. The midrib branches into small lines. What are the lines called, children? Those are veins. Yes, I hope you recalled everything, isn't it? Now what is the function of the petiole? The petiole will attach the leaf to the stem. What is the function of the midrib? It will transport the water to all parts of the leaf. Yes, this is about structure of leaf. And also we discussed about photosynthesis. Is it not, children? Then what are the raw materials of photosynthesis? Raw materials of photosynthesis. What are the raw materials, children? Yes, very good. What is that? First one is carbon dioxide. And next, what is the next one? It is water. In the presence of sunlight. What is the other one which is required for the photosynthesis? Chlorophyll. Where is the chlorophyll present? It is present in the leaf. Now what are the products we get in the photosynthesis? Yes, it is sugar. It is sugar. Along with only sugar do we get, children? No. Along with the sugar we get oxygen and water vapor. Yes. So this is about photosynthesis. This we have discussed in the previous class. Now we discussed how water will be transported to the plant or to the leaf to produce food. Then how do the plant get carbon dioxide, children? Yes, how do plant get carbon dioxide? It will be getting from the air. Then how do we breathe in air? Which organ helps us? Our nose helps us to breathe. Then what is the nose of the leaf? What is the nose of the leaf? Anyone? Yes, it's correct. It is stomata. It is stomata. It is the nose of the leaf. Nose of leaf. Now where is this stomata present? Stomata is present in the leaf, in the lower part of the leaf. If you think this is the leaf, this is the upper part of the leaf, and in the lower part of the leaf we find more number of stomata. Then in the upper part, are there stomata or not? Stomata will be present but very few in number. But in the lower part of the leaf, more amount of stomata will be present. Then what is the stomata? How it will be? Our nose will be in this way, isn't it, children? Yes? Our nose will be here. We have two nostrils and air. Then what is the structure of this stomata? How it will be? Stomata is a small pore-like structure. Pore means hole, a small hole-like structure in the leaf. This stomata, it is also known as stoma. Yes, it is known as stoma. It is guarded by bean-shaped cells. The stomata is guarded by bean-shaped cells. These cells are known as guard cells. These cells are known as guard cells. What is the function of these guard cells? The guard cells will help the stomata to open and close. If this is a pore and my hand is a guard cell. It will help to close and open. Whenever it is required, it will open. When it is not required, it will be closing. This guard cell will help the stoma in that way. So around that we'll have all the different cells. So this is a structure of stomata. So with the help of this stomata, the plant will take in carbon dioxide and it will send to all parts of the body. This carbon dioxide will help the leaf to prepare its own food. Yes, after preparing the food, even the water vapor and oxygen come out through this stoma only. Got it, children, everyone? So this is about the structure of stomata. Now I hope you understood this. Yes? Now we'll learn that the plant leaf prepares food in the form of sugars. This sugar, children, whatever the plant require, it will make utilize. Remaining, it will store in the form of starch. Today we will see how to test this starch in the leaf. How to test the starch in the leaf. To know that whether starch is present or not. For that, what we have to do? First one, aim. Let us take it as aim. To test the presence of starch in leaf. So for doing this activity, what are the materials required? So let us take what are the materials required. For this, we require a potted plant. First one, it is a potted plant. And next, we need a beaker. What is a beaker, children? Say beaker will be in this way. This is the beaker we need. We need a potted plant. Yes, we need a potted plant, beaker, water, burner. Burner means which we use in the laboratories for heating it. Burner, alcohol. Alcohol is a chemical used in the laboratories. And then we need iodine solution. So these are the materials required for doing this experiment. Along with this, we need a small dish also. A small dish we require. Okay, children. Now we are taking the potted plant. This potted plant, what we have to do? Generally, where we will keep the plants? We will keep in the sunlight. But for doing this experiment, for at least 2 days, you have to keep it in a dark room. Why we have to keep in a dark room? Why? Think once. Because in the sun, for the photosynthesis to happen, sunlight is required. When we keep it in the dark room, photosynthesis doesn't take place and there is no formation of sugar. Hence, there is no formation of starch in the leaves. So, the leaves do not have any starch now. If you keep at least 2 days in the dark room. After 2 days, we have to take this. Yes, we have to take these leaves and to one of the leaf, you have to clip one black paper on both sides of the leaf. Clip one black paper clip it like this. Blackish paper. Yes, you clip it and leave it in the sunlight for 1 day completely. Completely for 1 day. Why we are doing this? So that photosynthesis process takes place. Now photosynthesis process has taken place. We left the leaf, the whole plant for 1 day. Now remove that leaf. Now we remove that leaf and place it in this beaker. This leaf you place in the beaker. Remove the black paper and place it. So here this place we place the black paper, isn't it? You have to remove the black paper and you have to place it. And it should be, beaker should be filled with water. And keep above the burner and heat it. Let the leaf completely heat it. Yes, in the boiling water it should be heated. Afterwards, after completely boiling, when the water comes to the boiling point, then you can remove the leaf with the help of tongs, because water will be very hot. So we should not catch the leaf with our hand. We have to use tongs. Yes, we have to use tongs and remove the leaf. And then place it in a beaker containing alcohol. In this beaker, we have to take alcohol. In this alcohol, we have to keep this leaf. And then again, you have to heat this complete setup again. And when you are doing this, when you are heating this alcohol, you should be away from it. There's a chance of blasting sometimes. So, because it is alcohol. So, you should be away from it. Okay, children? This leaf should be heated completely till the leaf becomes whitish in color. Till the leaf becomes white in color. Now, after once the leaf became white in color, remove the leaf. Place it in the dish. Take the dish and you place this leaf on the dish. Now what you have to do? You have to use a drop of iodine solution on this leaf. On complete leaf you have to use. Then what happens? Generally, if starch is present, when we add iodine solution, it will change into bluish black in color. So, the leaf photosynthesis took place. So, starch will be present in this leaf. But what happens here? The complete leaf, will it become bluish black? Think once, children. Yes or no? No. Yes. Why? Because we covered this part with the black strip, isn't it? When the part where it is covered with black strip, it doesn't change into any color because there is no starch at all. But the remaining part will be changed into bluish black. Now you can see this leaf here. This part we covered. So only this part is changed into bluish black color. That means only this part is containing the starch. What does this experiment shows? We can show the presence of starch in the leaf and also the presence of sunlight or the importance of sunlight in the process of photosynthesis. Children, all of you understood this experiment, how to test the starch? Yes? Okay. Let us continue now. Now plants are very important. Plants give us food. Plants give us oxygen. Yes? Plants are very important. Only oxygen and food it will give. Plants also give us medicines. So we know that we all animals and human beings, yes, depend on plants. All the animals and plants, all the animals and human beings depend on plants. Do plants also depend on us? Do plants also depend on animals? Yes. As they depend on plants, plants also depend on animals. And as human beings, we also come under animals only because it's a great sect and it's a bigger sect in which we belong. So both animals and plants are dependent on one another. We call this as interdependence of plants and animals. Interdependence of plants and animals. Now, we all know that animals are classified into different groups on the basis of the food they are taking. We all know about that. Yes, no children? We learned in our lower classes. That is herbivores. What is herbivores, children? Herbivores means they eat only plant products. Either directly plants they will eat or plant products they will be eating. Next one is carnivores. What do carnivores eat? Carnivores eat the flesh of other animals. Those are carnivores. Then what is omnivores? What is omnivores? Omnivores means they eat both plant products and also animal products. Yes children, directly plants, directly animals, or otherwise the products of plants and animals. Those are known as omnivores. Children, now I will ask you, do we, that is we human beings, can we call ourselves as herbivores, carnivores or omnivores? Yes? Some children, most of us will say omnivores. But some children they say that, teacher, we are herbivores because we don't eat animals. Do we? But even then children, we come under omnivores only. That means the people who are eating the other animal products like meat, fish and all, even though they are eating that, we can't call them as carnivores. Or if we don't eat any like meat and fish, we can't call us as herbivores. Herbivores means those who eat directly the grass or the plants only. Omnivores means all the plant products and all the animal products. In the early morning we drink milk, isn't it? All, whether we are eating only plant products or animal products, everyone will take milk in the early morning. That is a product of animal. So we call ourselves as omnivores only. We can call us vegetarians or non-vegetarians, but we cannot call us as herbivores. Got it children? So all of us are omnivores only. Now, all the herbivores. Now we have the grass. Yes, this is a grass. Grass is eaten by, one example, we will take grasshopper. Grass is eaten by grasshopper. Now grasshopper is eaten by any animal? Yes, good. It is frog. Grasshopper is eaten by frog. Now frog is eaten by snake. Snake is eaten by hawk or an eagle or even a peacock. So here what is happening? A grasshopper is depending on grass for the food. Frog is depending on grasshopper for food. Snake is depending on frog. And hawk is dependent on snake. So each animal is dependent on other animal or either from the plants. So here we can say that all the animals are dependent on plants and plants are also dependent. Now afterwards we will see how plants are dependent on animals. Now this is a food chain children. We call this a food chain because here each and every animal is dependent on other plant or animal. This we call it as food chain. In this food chain children, one thing we should remember, this arrow mark. This arrow should be used in this way only. It cannot be used in the reverse way. Why? Because grasshopper is getting energy from the grass. So from where it is getting energy, the arrow should be placed in this way. It cannot be placed in the reverse way. This should be remembered. Okay, when we are representing a food chain. Now, all the animals are dependent on plants. Now, how plants are dependent on animals? Now, we'll see here. Animals, plants. Plants is preparing food, isn't it? They are getting food from the sunlight and they are releasing oxygen. This oxygen is utilized by the animals. Now animals, after their respiration, they are releasing out carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is utilized by plants. Got it, children? So both plants and animals are interdependent on each other. In the world is a very beautiful, yes, wonderful nature it is. In this nature, both plants and animals are important. If there is a decrease in animals or increase in plants, or decrease in plants or increase in animals, the whole ecological balance will be disturbed. It will be disturbed completely. Now for example, if animals are increased in the nature, what happens? They don't get enough food. They don't get enough food. And what happens? Carbon dioxide will be produced more. When more carbon dioxide is produced more, can the plants take it? No. The carbon dioxide in the air will become more. Because of that also most of the animals will die. Now if the plants are decreased, what happens? Oxygen levels will be decreased and animals will not get proper amount of food. In this way, both plants and animals are very, very important for nature, children. So only it should be a balance. Yes. Never cut the trees, children. Even if we cut the tree, we have to plant a sapling. Yes, it is very important for protection of nature. I hope you understood this interdependence of plants and animals. Thank you. Have a nice day.